All right, Dr. Shankopotamus here. We're working on the 2000 F250, and we're going to try this. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to give it a try. We are putting the TurboMaster wastegate control in today. Okay, my wastegate control is no longer really closing the wastegate. And it's probably the original one that came on the truck. The truck's got 206,000 miles on it. It's just shot. When I hook up the computer, I'm not getting any kind of movement of the wastegate at all. And I'm not getting turbo boost. So we're gonna see if this will help us out. Nice little kit here that came from these guys, KT Performance. Got an instruction sheet here, okay. All right, so what's going in today is TurboMaster wastegate controller, part number TM73. That's what we're putting in by DieselSite. All righty. The long and the short of this thing is, they say it's possible. Oh, there's a little ball piece in there. I'm going to block off the intake, the little tube, vacuum tube, and then there's a clip. So I'm just winging this thing. I did a little read on it, and then we're going to see. So from the instructions, you know, they say you can actually get around and put it on with the turbo in, but then all of their pictures are with the turbo out and on the desk. I mean, on the workbench, right? Some people said it can be done, so I'm going to give it a try. We'll see. If I can't, I need to check the turbo anyway. I'll take it off and check the blades and everything, but I'd like to actually just see how much of a difference I get with getting this on. The thing I was about to show you, there's a clip, okay, that goes on here to hold, here we go, to hold this, right, which opens your gate, right, and the clip goes on top of here. You got to reach back in there. I'll show you in a minute where we're going to get to, and it's really hard to get to. I read a couple things about some people use a piece of a wire hanger and kind of put the piece of wire hanger through. You got something to hold on to, and it pries it open just a little bit. After reading, these things are tight. They did say give a little pry to it, so I pried it up just a smidgen. You can see right there. Some people said use fishing line. I've got piece of string here. What is this? This is kind of pretty sturdy stuff. Anywho, just so I can see it. This way, if I drop this thing, hopefully this colored string will help me find it down in there somewhere. But let's get up on the F250 and see what we're going to be doing. All right, here we go. All right, so looking, get a little more light onto this situation. Looking back of the engine bay. Your turbo is sitting right back here. Right there is the top of your turbo, okay? That's your wastegate control. That's the stock one that came on, and your wastegate is over there on that side, okay? So I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward to get that control off right there. The little rubber piece on the end that has the vacuum to it, that's where your little ball goes. Stick that in there. I probably will stick it in there and tape it off, and I don't know, I'll come up with something, but they say if you shove the ball down there, it'll work fine. So anyway, so the problem is going to be getting your hands back into this area, and that's what I've heard, but I really think there's enough room to get back behind it and pop this little clip onto there. But anyway, it's going to be really hard to show exactly what I'm doing while I'm working with this. But for the first thing, what we're going to do is we'll take off the connector of the red tube right there that comes up to your wastegate control. We're going to pop that off. There's going to be 2 screws. I'll check the size right behind there. Should be able to get a ratchet into there. If I put a long extension on it, I can have the ratchet over there and ratchet off these little screws that are back there. So let me get that set up going, and I'll show y'all what we got. Oh, and as a little aside, you can see I've got a stool here. And then I've got a packing blanket up on top of here, so I can literally just lay on top of the engine to get my hands back in there and work on this. Not a bad way to do this one, it looks like. Okay, so I think this will help a little bit here. If y'all can hear me, I'm laying on the microphone too. But your mirror is very handy for getting back here, and I'll show you. So when you bring the mirror back, There you go. Can you see them? You got two. You're looking at one of the two screws there. Well, actually, these are nuts, aren't they? Yeah. That you're going to have to get off. The new piece that goes on, it's an 11 millimeter screw that goes through there. And this looks like it's maybe about a, I don't know, 8 millimeter, maybe 7 millimeter nut that you can see back there. So I'm going to grab my ratchet and I'm going to get a hold of that nut. And there's no way I can show you guys taking this off, but that's where it is. That's what you're after. You're going to unscrew those first. Then you're going to move over here to where your wastegate size is. And that's it right here. I'm going to point with this. You got to pop this off so you can get the other one under control of the wastegate. So I'm going to try to get those nuts off first. Alrighty. All right, so let's zoom out just a little bit. Whew. Step one, you definitely need some padding on top there. You just have to lay down and do this. This bad boy's off. Okay. I just used the mirror and a little right angle, if y'all can see that, just to get hold of the little C-clamp that was on the end of this. Popped it off. I don't need it anymore. It's gone. In the mirror, it looked smaller, but it's actually a 10 that's on here, okay? 10 millimeter socket you're working with. It's gonna take a couple of extensions to get around the far side, you get all the way around, and then for this side, you gotta come get in between the two parts of the turbo, the exhaust side and the intake side, and be able to ratchet it off. But this comes off pretty easily, just a little bit of, finagling around. So I really hope the other part goes on almost as easy, and this won't be that bad of a deal, but famous last words. Okay. All right, so I think the best way to get this on is going to be to take the whole thing apart, okay? And you put in the plate first. That gives you the place to slide this through without any resistance from your spring, right? Then you can mess with this end, get it exactly right. And I'll tell you, looking at the truck right now, looking at it from the front, here's a diagram. You want to make sure you get it on there the right way. Here we go. Here's your drawing of how it goes on coming across this way. So this bend is going back, it's going towards, right? Because you're on this side. So sitting in the truck, this piece is going to go through. There's a bend right here. This bend is going to be facing towards the front of the truck. This hole is where you slip into the little nipple order that's sticking up, and then this is where you put the clip on to lock it. This little bar sits on the opposite side of that plate. Okay, there's a plate. The plate fits into here with the little, whatever you call it, stem sticking up that you put the clip on, okay? But I think the easiest thing to do is going to be to put the plate in first, because if you try to put it all in one piece, I know from taking the other one out, this rod really gets in your way for the far screw that you're trying to tighten down. So I think with this rod out of the way, just tighten it right on down. Now, the other thing is, it looks to me like it's symmetrical. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's a little bit off symmetric. Anyway, it's got a divot or a dent or like a little drilled out place that goes away from the turbo, pointing up, okay? So I'm gonna get this plate on first and go from there. So far, so good. Okay, I'd say that wasn't too bad. I mean, if you got really, really big hands, you're gonna have some trouble probably getting in there, but just wrenching it back and forth, there she is, she's in. Right there you go. I think definitely the way to do it is to put that in first. It's so much easier to wrench it without the bar in your way. And so the next step is I'm gonna feed the bar through, and without having any kind of spring load on it, so I can go over there and play with it and set it up just right, and then I'll get the clip onto it. I really think I can get a hold of that clip, get it on there. The other thing I'm gonna do is, I put that string on the clip that's colored. I'm gonna actually tie that string around the little band that I always wear on my wrist over here. And then that way, if I do drop it, it's still hooked up to me and I just pull it right back out. I think that's gonna work out great. But I'll show you that setup here in a second. All right, another good thing, Fine Young Cannibals on there. That's good stuff. So, I told you I put this onto a little piece of string here so I wouldn't lose it or drop it. And then just put it up onto my wristband right there. It's kind of tied loosely. if I do drop it, I don't have to go really hunting for it. It's going to come right back, because I've heard this is the problem with putting this thing on. But honestly, looking at where we are over there, I think I can get this thing to pop up and over. So let me get the, where is it? The bar. Here we go. Right over here. I don't want to walk in front of the camera. Sorry for wobbling around in there. Let's get, okay. And just to show you again, so here's our bar. The way that this sits is coming out, okay? Angle like that, angled out is the way it's going to sit in the vehicle. This goes against, there's a little square plate. This goes on the end of the square plate. The little clip, the peg for the clip goes up through there, okay? And then hopefully the clip is going to slide, oh, whoops, sorry. And hopefully the clip is going to slide bada bing, bada bow, right on there. So let's get this thing set up. So it's so hard to see the clip. I wish you could see the clip. I'm so proud of that clip. So that's the way it's supposed to sit. You can see the end of the plate, you know, kind of looking at you. And that little post on the end of the plate is into that hole that belongs into. The clips right on the other side of it. And then the little post that comes off of the new piece is on the other side of the plate, okay? And then you come through here, and that's all we've got here. So it's definitely easier to get it on, having it hanging off of your, right there. Your wrist is fantastic. Don't forget some scissors or something to cut with. Thank goodness my daughter came by right as I'm putting it on. I got up on here and got it on there and forgot to have scissors to cut it off with. Because you want to be able to cut yourself free, obviously, because you can't get off and go get stuff. But it works great. It was so easy to pop it on like that and then cut the string and pull it out. I mean, this is not a problem. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people online say this thing's impossible. This is not a problem. You put the string around it, you pry it open just a little bit, bam, you're on. I mean, we're done. So let me put the spring on, and then we'll get a picture of the completed project here in just a little bit. Again, sorry for this kind of cattywampus, but that's a way to keep the camera stable. Be right back. And you can see our spring is on there. Whoops, sorry. So spring is on there, nuts onto the end of it, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down. They say get it down to 2 inches, then check your boost and see. I got a little computer, I'll be checking the boost, but 2 inches is a good setting. You lower the boost, you can back off a little bit. Dr. Shankopotamus putting the Turbo Master, let me get this up here. DieselSite Turbo Master for the GTP 38, which is the one that's on there. That's the standard turbo, okay? And saw your instructions and everything. There's a good shot of what it looks like once it's on there. And we'll see if this really helps out to keep my wastegate working like it's supposed to and my turbo working like it's supposed to. But working on the 2000 F250 there. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That's always helpful. And subscribe. That's always helpful too. Y'all have a good evening.